As I say each and every year, I have too many books on my physical TBR. So, let's go through each and every one of them. Before we do, I'm going to mention a little bit of stats about these books on my full TBR. So, just for clarification, this is every single book that I physically own a copy of, that I can hold, that I have not read, that is on my bookshelves. I have 142 books that I'm about to go through. They will be timestamped and don't worry. And out of those, 98 of them were sent to me as a gift. I only bought 29 of them myself, and 9 of these books are ARC's advanced reader copies that were sent to me by the publisher, so they are likely to be gotten through sooner rather than later. For the 29 books that I bought myself, 5 of them I bought that are just standalones, 15 of them were from book boxes, so from Illumicrate, from Goldsborough's science fiction fantasy box. I've unsubscribed from all of those now, but I do still have some books from them, and 9 of those are from within a series from that box. So you're sent the first one in the box and you're given the opportunity to buy a matching book from the series when the next one comes out, and I have done so. There are 9 of those. 4 books are charity shop purchases. I think that's really quite good compared to how my books used to be. So 4 of them I spotted in a charity shop and I picked up, and 5 of the books are friend unhauls, so I usually do pay my friends the shipping if they post me any books. This is 99% of the time from the UK, although there's been a couple from Sweden. 5 of them are books that my friends have decided they no longer want, and I've brought those in. Like I said, out of the 142, 98 of them have been gifted to me by wonderful friends and family. I have books from my parents, from my uncle, from my partner, from so many wonderful friends, both online in the bookish community and also offline entirely, and I will mention everyone down below that has any sort of bookish account for you to go and see their content who has gifted me anything ever, because I am incredibly grateful. So let's dive into actually going through the shelves. Unlike last year, if you want to see that one, I have actually got it all on one bookshelf now. Just the thing that doesn't really fit is my current reading, my January TBR. If I take that off of the shelves, they all fit wonderfully. So I just can't bring in too many books in January. So let's turn you around, put you on the shelves, and go through each and every book. So this one Billy bookshelf is where I keep my makeup and all of that, but also all of my TBR books. So we're going to start at the top and go through them one by one. My TBR shelves are slightly put into sections, so I'll mention them when they're there, otherwise it's just random TBR books. I will say that up here in that corner is jewellery and some nail polish, so ta-da! This section here is my non-fiction books. Svenska dagdjur av Martin Emtenes och Jonas Kjellberg, I think. Sorry, Sweden. This is Swedish animals, 46 species, with pictures and stuff. Woo! Mountains of Fire by Clive Oppenheimer, Not Just a Period by Dr. Hazel Wallace, Lapidarium by Hetty Judah, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl written by herself by Harriet Jacobs, The Ends of the World by Peter Brannan, Cast by Isabel Wilkerson, On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, Unwell Women by Eleanor Cleghorn, The Almost Nearly Perfect People by Michael Booth, SAS Band of Brothers by Damian Lewis, The New Age of Empire by Kehinde Andrews, Ultra Processed People by Chris Van Tullochen, and Egyptian Myths and Legends, and Viking Folk and Fairy Tales, edited by J.K. Jackson. And those are the non-fictions. Back to regular fiction books for a bit. Wranglestone and Timberdark by Darren Charlton, Middlemarch by George Eliot, Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, The Kremlin Candidate by Jason Matthews, and Witches Steeped in Gold and Empress Crowned in Red by Shannon Smart. Onto shelf 2, we're gonna go right to left, this one. The Immortality Thief by Taran Hunt, Snow Globe by So-Young Park, translated by Youngmin Lee Comfort, The Nightingale by Kristin Hanna, Midnight on the Celestial by Julia Alexandra, Washington Black by Essie Edgegan, The True Queen by Zen Cho, The Merciless Ones by Namina Fauna, The House Witch and The Enchanting of the Hearth by Delamach, Chain Gang All-Stars by Nanakwama Ajay Brenya, Children of Memory by Adrian Tchaikovsky, When We Were Monsters by Jennifer Niven, Kill the Father and Kill the Angel by Sandrone Dazieri, Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo, Beasts of Prey by Anya Gray, and Malice by John Gwynne. Then in this corner here we have a little bookish fan, but we also have the 9 of the 10 books that I am going to be reading in 2026, or they are on hold if you want to watch the video. It is linked up there. So let's go through these 9. Odin's Child by Siri Petterson, The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter, Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, Mind Games by Terry Terry, This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab, The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab, A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman, and 84K by Claire North. Next up, a section nobody cares about, but just for posterity. These are my journals, that is my jewellery rack. This has my makeup and stuff on it, and then makeup brushes, makeup and hair products. Ta-da! I work like there, so this is where I get ready in the morning. This shelf looks a bit messy, and it is a combination of a few things. I'm actually going to go for the stuff in the middle first to get it out of the way. This is my January TBR, so that's why it doesn't fit, because these 4 books aren't actually here, they're travelling around the house with me as I read them, so let's get them and the other January TBR books off of this shelf and we can look at the rest of it. Feminist History for Every Day of the Year by Kate Moss, Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky, Frostlines by Neil Shea, Holy Bible New International Version Children's Edition. I wasn't actually telling anyone that I was reading this, but I have had this on my TBR since I was gifted it when I left my primary school in year 4, and I just want to get it off of my TBR and to have it finally read, and I can't do that by lying, so I'm reading it. I am an atheist, but I am reading this to pop it on the red shelf. Blantomtar Troll, which is a collection of fairy tale stories in Swedish, Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth, and High Voltage by Chris Sudgeon and Jen Sudgeon. Making Money by Terry Pratchett is here, but this is actually a book that I am borrowing from my partner, so this is not on my own TBR, but it is on my January TBR. Up there. Now those are gone. It is still a mess, but it's slightly better than it was. This is an Aloma Crate teacup set. Inside is an origami rose that a friend made for me, and some fabric bookmarks that Veronica from What Veronica Read made for me, which I adore so much. So I keep them in the teacup for easy access. In terms of how this shelf is laid out, these are random TBR books, and these are because I am considering trying to do a 30 books in 30 days challenge. And these are all the books that I think I could potentially manage that with. So I'll start with the regular TBR and go on to the challenge ones. The Drowning King by Emily Holloman, Red Sparrow by Jason Matthews, The Overstory by Richard Powers, The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, and The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. Then for the challenge books, A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole, Eruption by Michael Crichton and James Patterson, The Full Moon Coffee Shop by Mai Mochizuki, translated by Jessie Kirkwood, The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Shop by Takuya Asakuro, translated by Yuka Maeno. Letters from the Ginza Shihodo Stationery Shop by Kenji Ueda, translated by Emily Ballesteri. The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, Race to Death by Lee Russell, To Hold the Bridge by Garth Nix, Significant Other, Sure of You, Michael Tolliver Lives, Marianne in Autumn, and The Days of Anna Madrigal, all by Armistead Maupin. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs by Caitlin Doughty, Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, The Autobiography of My Mother by Jamaica Kincaid, More Days at the Murasaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa, translated by Eric Osawa, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, translated by Ross Schwartz, Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bythel, The White City by Roma Turner, System Collapse by Martha Wells, The Vampire Knitting Club by Nancy Warren, Putting Myself Together by Jamaica Kincaid, Lives of Bitter Rain by Adrian Tchaikovsky, The Valkyrie by Kate Hartfield, and A Bigger Picture by Vanessa Nakate. We're getting into limited light down here territory now. The second bottom shelf. The only thing on this shelf is a jewellery box that belonged to my gran that I got when she passed away that I have a few pieces in. Tersteel and Eleanor by Garth Nix, Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker, Thrust by Lydia Yuknovich, The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, The Hunter's Kind by Rebecca Levine, We All Fall Down by Rose Sabo, Three Sisters by Heather Morris, Flame in the Mist by Renee Adier, Intrigues and Changes by Mercedes Lackey, Winterkeep and Sea Sparrow by Kristen Kashaw, Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy in Swedish, Bluebird by C.L. Piello, The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerizing Girl by Theodora Goss, Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum by Matthew Gibson, The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, Golden Hand by Garth Nix, Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake, Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova, Shadows of the Gods by John Gwynne, Juice by Tim Winton, and Flowers in the Attic by Virginia Andrews. It was bothering me that the series weren't together, so I've put them back in a mildly better order. Only mildly. And we have reached the ground floor. On here I have jars of rocks. These are from Vesuvius, those are, as it says, from Etna, and these are from beach trips in the UK with my partner. I have a geology master's, leave me be. As for the books, there are quite a few special editions in here just because there's a lot of hardbacks, and this is obviously my Game of Thrones selection here. So that's essentially what this is. Hardbacks and Game of Thrones. A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, Steel and Snow, A Storm of Swords, Blood and Gold, A Feast for Crows, A Dance with Dragons, Dreams and Dust, A Dance with Dragons, After the Feast, and Fire and Blood, all by George R.R. Martin. Jorden runt på 80 dagar av Jules Verne. This is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne in Swedish. The Rosefield by Philip Pullman. Days of Shattered Faith by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Cursebound by Sarah L. Arifi. The Dragon Wakes with Thunder by KX Song. Four Ruined Realms by Mike Orland. Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. The Manual for Good Wives by Lola J. A Restless Truth and A Power Unbound by Freya Marsk. The Sun's Devices by Rebecca Levine. Emberclaw by L.R. Lamb. The Gilded Crown by Marianne Gordon. The Man in the Bunker by Rory Clements. A Desolation Called Peace by Arcadie Martin. What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Strange Beasts by Susan J. Morris. Palace of Treason by Jason Matthews. A River Called Time by Portia Newland. Three Shattered Souls by Mike Orland. And The Fates Divide by Veronica Roth. And that is every single book on my TBR. And those are my 142 books that are on my TBR shelves. As always, I would love to get this down. I know that for some people this is a huge amount and for other people it's quite small. I would like to get this down just so that I feel like I have a little bit more control over it. I feel like 50 would be a good number because I don't actively bookshop anymore. I will buy things that are sequels that come out, and I will be sent things by publishers, thank you very much, and I will be sent things by my friends, thank you very much. But I don't tend to actively shop very much for books anymore, and that's kind of a pity. But also, having this many books that I haven't read, I do feel better about it all being on one shelf, especially with my January TBR, meaning that it actually all fits on one bookshelf. But it is a little much, and I would like to get this number down. I would love to get this under 100. I don't know if that is realistic, but that's what I'm going to try this year. So I'm going to have to try and make sure that I'm getting the number down more than I'm bringing in. We shall see how well that goes. Yes, follow along to see if I manage it. Thank you so much for watching, folks. If there are any of these books that I need to pick up sooner rather than later, please do let me know so that I can add them to my February and March TBRs. And I shall see you folks in the next video. Bye!